Something a bit different here. At the end of the golf season, we're about to have the Solheim Cup, so I thought I would do something a little bit different. So we've got a 18 handicapper here, and I just thought I would analyse an amateur golfer's swing, just so you can have a look to see if there's anything relatable in this swing that maybe can help you with your own game.
Before we get to the video, if you're new here, if you could please hit that subscribe button. I release new videos like this every single week that will help you improve your game. Right, let's get to it.
So Jack, as a player, is a young, fit lad. He's come from tennis to golf, so already I'm thinking he's going to be an excellent rotational player, maybe have quite quick hands from hitting all those spin shots. But I still try to look at these swings with sort of an open mind. I don't know what I'm going to see before I see them hit shots. He's probably going to end up with some wide right shots. Other things to note would be he's got a split grip. Now, I'm not particularly bothered if someone interlock, overlaps, has a split baseball grip, double overlaps, whatever. What I'm interested in is the club in the fingers of the grip and how are your hands aligned to the club. So Jack's got quite a weak left hand. Now, again, because I'm sort of conscious that he's going to be a bit flippy with his hands, I don't think that's actually a bad thing. And also Jack wants to play fades, so again, that grip aligns with what he's trying to do with his ball flight, so actually I'm just quite happy with that. Looking at down the line, Jack has brilliant balance. His armpits are over the balls of his feet, his backside is just a couple of inches behind his heels. Things are pretty good at address. His arms are hanging down. I like his posture, and he looks like he's just going to be able to create a lot of power from there. Generally what we see with sort of people coming from other sports or athletic people, if you like, is they'll often stand with their sort of spine angle too bent over it and definitely too much arch to their lower back, which can restrict them. But Jack stands in good posture, nice and tall and relaxed, and he's ready to go. So as we start to take the club away, there's a few things here that we want to look at. Jack's got quite a good tilt to his spine here, which is great for hitting drivers. But what we see as he starts to take the club away is his head actually tilts towards the target. His head actually tilts towards the target, which means his spine has gone from angled away from the target to now he's just fairly straight up and down. He's lost that sort of like preset good angle of attack and good shallow swing by tilting his head towards the target, and that's actually going to cause him to be steeper at impact unless we see some other compensations in the swing. We also see with Jack quite a lot of forearm rotation there. The logo on his glove is probably pointing too much to the sky. His right palm should be a little bit more angled down than it is at the moment, which means the face is likely to have rolled up. So from down the line, Jack's got quite high hands at address, but I don't really mind that. Through this part of the swing, that club's rolled inside a little bit. Again, I'm not particularly happy with his sort of like right palm position, but the club face seems somewhat under control, even if his hands have worked a little bit too outside and the club head slightly inside. As we continue to the top of the swing, this is where we start to see a bit of that tennis. So Jack's got a great hip turn here. He's changed flex in his knees. He's pivoting well. His shaft's on the original plane angle, which I do like the look of. But as we round to the top of the swing, Jack's actually starting to rotate his hips towards the target before the club's even finished going back. Now, we've talked about that a lot in different tour players, how their hips generally start to move before the backswing ends. But those players aren't necessarily rotating. They're much more just shifting. So, are we going to see some shift? Not enough. So if I draw some lines at address, we know that a tour player, when they hit the ball, gets their hips 4 to 6 inches ahead of where they started, where Jack, like I said, is a big tennis player, rotational player. As he swings down, his hips haven't moved forward at all, which is just going to make his path probably maybe too far to the left. So by not moving your hips forward, you're generally going to always cut across the ball, which is going to create too much of a fade. It's going to make you pull it. And these are things that Jack's going to suffer with. So from the top of the swing, what we're going to see, because Jack's hips are pivoting or opening really early, is that shaft is probably slightly steeper than where we'd like it at this stage in the swing. And as he swings down, because he's turned his hips so much, so early in the downswing, what happens is Jack can't now keep turning towards the target, because what would happen is the club head would end up somewhere miles outside the ball, somewhere out here, and he would be the biggest chop slicer you've ever met. So what happens is Jack actually now starts to extend his hips. So he's gone from an angled position here, where his backside is back, to through the ball. You can see how he's like hip thrusting towards the ball, towards the target. And that's because Jack's so open, so, through this part of the swing, that in order to compensate for being so open with his body, he actually has to extend his body early to allow him to get his arms down and to strike the ball. Now, because Jack's a good athlete, he does this really well. And actually, at this stage, the sweet spot of the club is below the initial playing line, which I like. The sweet spot of the club is now on the playing line, which is obviously great. And then he gets down to impact. Hands probably slightly too high. And not the greatest strike, this one. But he does have quite a big change in angle here, where his hips are touching that line and then are shifting towards the ball at impact. And that's really just because he's opened too early. Now, most amateur golfers always think they should turn more through the ball. They're really bothered by the hip turn. But actually, it's more often the case where I see golfers are turning too early, which forces their hands too far outside the line on the downswing, which then makes them swing left sharply through the ball. You can see that here. He's rotating, and now he's just got nowhere to go. So he's going to start thrusting towards the ball, which allows him to save it with his hands. We start to see his head backing off. I think he does that just because the ball's too far back and he's trying to create some angle of attack by leaning back. And then through the ball, something that I really don't like is Jack's gaze is still down here somewhere, even though the ball's long gone. Someone's obviously told him at some stage to keep his head down. Maybe you do that in tennis, I don't know. But what we should be doing by this stage of the swing is looking for the ball. And what that does is, because his head's down for so long, that just compromises his left arm. So that left arm, left wrist as he swings through is slightly too bent, which is just going to give him some club face problems. So if he was able to allow his head to pivot through and his eyes follow the ball, then he'd probably find a little bit more consistency in his club face control, which obviously would help him score better. So this is an interesting swing in that Jack's really powerful, clearly. He's got loads of rotation, but not enough lateral. So where we'd start here is, let's just fix his ball position. That's going to straight away help us massively and allow us to hit driver certainly a lot better. The next thing I'd do would just be working on this takeaway, making sure that that right forearm, right palm doesn't rotate too much too early, because that's going to get the face too open. And then if he really wanted to work on his swing, we would talk about his downswing sequencing, work on trying to get a bit more of a shift across towards the target as he gets to the top of the swing, instead of being so rotational, because that's going to allow him to just be a little bit more shallow. It's going to give him more options in terms of ball flight and allow him to drive the ball in play to score better. But overall, this is a great swing for an 18 handicapper. I would imagine this handicap will come down soon. Hopefully that's been interesting for you. Maybe you've seen some faults in there that you do, and you can start to work on some of those things to improve your game. If you're interested in having your own swing analysed, then please do get in touch. I'm probably going to do more subscriber swing analysis in the future, so if you're interested, then let me know.
Thanks very much for watching the videos. If you can please like and comment to boost the engagement, and subscribe if you don't already, that'd be great. If you like what I put out in these videos, you like what I say about technique, I can actually help you with your game no matter where you are in the world. So if you just want to click the link in the bio, it'll take you to Skillist, which is an online coaching platform, and there you can look to see what I do, and actually I can help you with your game, so analyse your swing, give you some drills and tips to help you improve, so we can work together to help you lower your handicap.